and welcome to another product comparison breakdown from Longhorn Tactical. Today we will be comparing the biggest currently available and brightest light from Fenix, as well as the smallest, although it is not the least brightest. I believe the E03R takes that spot, or the E-light. However, the most sort of conventional, easy to use, I can see almost anyone being able to have and utilize properly, E03R mini keychain light.
Hey y'all, take this time to like and subscribe to the Longhorn Tactical YouTube channel. Thanks.
What is the purpose or motivation? Why does one need to use this? What is the best way to optimize for either or? And can they be used similarly? Well, I suppose the answer to that is sure. They're both flashlights. The E03R is a flashlight, and the LR80R is also a flashlight. However, they are optimized very differently. This is a mountable, slingable, kind of unwieldy, but very large and powerful searchlight. It has a max lumen value of 18,000 and a max beam throw of 1,235 yards. So over the span of 12 football fields. It's almost difficult to visualize 1,200 yards. Whereas the E03R has one white LED as compared to the LR80R's 6, and it has a max lumen value of 260 with only a 46-yard beam distance, which is about the size of a fairly large room. And thus the benefits of the LR80R is that it's primarily marketed for heavy-duty use, for Coast Guard, search and rescue, people who need a large volume of light that can go very far and provide the lighting in perhaps out in the wilderness where there isn't any natural sources of light or light pollution from neighboring cities. Whereas the E03R is something that can be clipped to a keychain and carried around by anyone and provide just the right amount of lighting in almost any situation to light up a hallway at night or basement, attic, cellar, emergency storage, doomsday prepping, container box. Which brings me to carryability. The LR80R is, I'm a human and I'm carrying it. It's not too bad. It is a little over 10 inches on its widest side. The bezel diameter is 4.25 inches and the grip diameter is 2.13 inches, and it weighs 57 ounces, which is roughly 3.58 pounds, like a severely malnourished human baby or regular dog baby. I actually don't know anything about animals. Whereas the E03R is 1.85 inches, a little under 2 inches on its longest side, and 0.94 inches wide, and only 0.47 inches in depth or height, and only weighs 0.78 ounces. Very lightweight. Snap it to a keychain, you won't even know it's there. You should know it's there because it's quite useful. Handy little tool to have. So what does the E03R have that the LR80R doesn't have? Now the LR80R has a strobe mode and SOS mode, but the E03R has a red light and red light flashing, which rudimentary can act as a indicator, potentially SOS. You do activate it by holding the button until it cycles over to the red, and you just tap it to switch it over to the flashing red. And it's great as a visual indicator, for instance, as a deterrent if you're just walking at night and want to let cars know that you're there so you don't get run over, which I think is something most people would prefer. Or just, maybe you could even clip it to the leash of your dog. Now if the E03R has its red light, the one feature of the LR80R that the E03R can never do is that it can dispense power. This entire handle right here is a massive battery. Although both of these lights are USB-C rechargeable, only the LR80R can be USB-C charged or USB-A discharge, A being the square standard USB cable. So, if you have a USB-C cable like this standard A cable side can be plugged in to the LR80R, like so, and then over here on the USB-C side, you could actually use it to charge your E03R via the USB-C port. Like so. This way, this functions as a rudimentary power bank. I don't know why I said rudimentary there. It is a power bank. It is dispensing power via USB-A. So yes, with this, you have the capacity to charge, You have the capacity to increase the capacity of another electronic device's battery capacity. Another small benefit is that because the LR80R is a heavy-duty searchlight marketed towards Coast Guard, search and rescue and such, it is IP68 waterproof and is submersible up to 2 meters. So that means it can be completely submerged in water. It's totally fine. Whereas the E03R is only IP66. so it's 2 levels below the 8 of the LR80R. However, I still did submerge this and it worked fine. IP66 means that it can withstand heavy splashes and a lot of water, but technically not truly submersible, but the silicone cover is fairly secure. So I think that's the only real weakness point for water ingression, but it seemed to work fine afterwards. Which brings me to the E03R's main feature that the LR80R cannot reproduce, which is that it is a keychain light. It can be easily attached and secured to backpack loops, a keychain, of course, or anything really that'll accept this small D-ring and be easily carried by almost anyone, even a child. It is very lightweight. Or so you thought, because the LR80R does in fact come with a tripod mount, which allows it to be attached to tripods, although I don't know if that's something that might be very specific and optimized for certain professions. I don't think the average person has a tripod just for a flashlight or a searchlight. So you attach the tripod mount adapter to the handle of the LR80R, you have this little keyring extension thing, which if you so desired, could turn the LR80R into a functional keychain. So I suppose if you happen to also have a couple of extra carabiners and D-rings lying around, you could functionally turn the LR80R into a keychain light, though you need a very strong belt, and I suppose in terms of efficacy of it being a keychain is suspect, still technically possible. And that concludes the product comparison breakdown between Fenix's largest currently on the market, brightest at Longhorn Tactical, LR80R, high-powered searchlight, 18,000 lumen max, over 1,200 yards of beam throw, versus their Fenix's smallest E03R, E02R, and E-Light notwithstanding. All things considered, symbolically with the words I'm using and biggest and smallest, brightest and least brightest, the E02R might have been a better fit, but I'll be honest, I saw these two sitting next to each other on the return shelf, and I thought it would be an interesting comparison, because this one's just so economical, usable by anyone really, makes a great gift as well. Plus I really like the simple geometric design. All flashlights tend to be tubular in nature, so I guess it stands out, and I like that. Whereas the LR80R is more of a splurge piece. Over 1,200 yards of beam throw, I can't necessarily visualize 1,200 yards that easily in my head. I just have to kind of stack football fields. But even so, it's so out of place. It's really hard. So this is just heavily optimized for the people that really do need that amount of powerful light and beam throw. If you have enjoyed this video, or think I'm a big dumb fart, please leave a comment or suggestion below. To stay up to date on future product releases, sales announcements, and all things flashlight related, please consider subscribing to the Longhorn Tactical YouTube channel. And thank you.